It's rare moments after a run like this that I come to recognize just how beautiful life is. I think it's because during my run, I think too much. Or before my run, I think too much. I overthink how I should state things instead of just allowing my natural flow to come out. And I think it's because my conditioning from my past has been so thick that during my run, it's like running is like a ritual for me. It's like a cleansing of the ego. I have to act out these characters, and I've become attached to fictional characters like Monkey D. Luffy, the one, that's why I'm wearing a straw hat, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Captain America, Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker. All of them are different identities, Naruto, Uzumaki, Might Guy. A lot of these characters I really relate to. I relate to on a personal level, but then there's my human self, Christopher. My human identity. But then there's the awareness behind the identity. So there's an awareness that's aware of my life, and I just, shortly after coming out of my run, I turned off the music and I just kind of stood there for a second, and nature sort of dissolved for a split second, the thinking going on in my mind, and I'm finally flowing with me again, and I'm super in sync with my human identity, Christopher. And I've come back to myself. And I think that there's, especially here in the West, there's so much mental delusion going on that we forget to come back to ourselves. Who are we? Who am I? That's the most interesting question you can ever ask yourself in this existence, because your mind will come up with all of these identities, and our ego loves it. Our ego loves to latch onto these things, but the thing is our true nature of being is ever changing. There comes a point in time where the identity begins to fall away. And if your awareness has latched onto this identity so tightly that you've literally become it, then you lose yourself. And you go through ego death, and you go through the grieving of the death, but you need to move on. There's something inside that knows now's the time for a new chapter in my life to begin. And you could stall it, of course. You could choose to prolong it, but prolonging the death of the old identity, the old you, is just going to cause more suffering in the long run, and you're going to be more out of alignment than what you really want out of this life. instead of just trusting the process and going through with it. Just like this video, I came out here for a run because it's like I listen to these fight scenes, man. Ah! You know, and I get into it. I get into the character. I really do. I lose myself. But then, like, 30 minutes of running to fighting, it's like, eventually, needs to be a balance. Life is all about balance. You can't just have love and peace all the time. This reality is extremely dualistic. Your human self is going to have a dark side and a light side. One of my dark sides is I got to go do a crazy, chaotic run. I just need to scream. I just need to get it out of my system. Like, I forced myself to scream those last 2 times because I'm just burnt out. Because now I'm experiencing relief of letting go of that identity. And you can apply this to your own life. You can apply this to how you live your life. Maybe you're working a job, and the job, it's not where you want to be. Maybe for the time being you need to be there. It's like you got bills, or you feel like your time at that place isn't over yet, but something inside knows it's coming, or maybe it's already there. And when that time comes, you have a choice to make. And it may be one of the most important choices of your life. I still have habits of, buying figures and stuff. And that's something that's been dying off slowly but surely. And I've been going through these phases where, like, I'll watch pirate movie and I'll act out the pirate. Or I'll watch war movies and I'm a soldier in World War II or the Vietnam War, Captain America. I'll go through these identities, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm real glad that I'm not in any of those movies. I'm real glad that I have the life I have now, because most of the chaos in my life is coming from my own head. It's coming from my mind. Embracing these chaotic... The identities aren't chaotic, but they're in a chaotic state of mind. War, like real war. I watched Saving Private Ryan, Full Metal Jacket, and Hamburger Hill recently for 4th of July. Hamburger Hill was a gruesome one. People were dying left and right. The whole 101st Airborne Division nearly got wiped out, except for like 3 people at the end of the movie. It's like they had to hold up a hill against the Viet Cong, and the movie didn't hold anything back. Graphic, like people got their legs blown off, and all this stuff. And I was in the Army for 7 years, and I deployed once. I deployed to Egypt, but my deployment, I just worked out and did guard duty. I wasn't actually in a battle like that. I can't even fathom the mental psychosis you have to live with the rest of your life. For one, but those experiences can be very rewarding too. I imagine they would be, because to live through that, seeing your buddies get blown up and to come out of that alive and to get to live the rest of your life, yeah. Like my biological grandfather, he deployed to Vietnam before my mother was born. I almost didn't exist. He deployed to Vietnam, and I remember when I was like 14, my mom showed me a picture of her dad and 3 other people next to a Jeep in Vietnam. And everybody in that picture died except for my grandfather. And then he came back, became an alcoholic. He met my grandma. Then they had my mom together. And but war can mess people up, you know. But he lived. And because he lived, I am who I am today. Thanks to his genetics. He didn't raise me. But I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be this version of me had he died over there. So everything in life sort of just lines up miraculously how it should. Even if it doesn't make sense. I think there's a lot of things to learn in life, but I think one of the major things is learning to trust the process, learning to trust the unfolding of the great mystery, and how everything is a paradox, how everything is chaotic and one giant mess, but a miracle at the same time. How everything is ugly, suffering's everywhere, but it's incredibly beautiful. Everything in this life is balanced and paradoxical in nature. The truth is paradoxical, and for our rational minds that like to make sense of everything and shove away the ugly, but praise the beauty, you know, we gotta learn to do both. We gotta learn to not praise the ugly, but show appreciation for it, because the ugly is where we grow the most. The ugly is when the ego suffers immensely, but for the soul, it's like food. It's like a coming back to what our true nature is. You know, when life gets really ugly, it actually brings people together. And sometimes it can get uglier before that starts to happen, but it isn't in our nature to kill, kill, kill. It isn't in our nature to just destroy. It isn't in our nature to be so divided and so delusional and so confused. That's the nature of the ego, and that's the nature of the mind. You know, this helps me. This is therapeutic for me. This is what works for me. And my words may resonate with you. My words may not resonate with you. I am what I am. I say what I say. And for some reason, I just wanted to make a video sharing my thoughts. And I hope to do this more often, because I can't live life on a schedule. I can't live life on an agenda. I mean, to an extent, like I still got a time I got to be at work, right? But I sleep when I sleep. Like these videos, they're so spontaneous, and I love it that way, because it's like nothing is planned. I don't know what's going to come of this. I don't know who I'm going to reach. But it feels good, because it's like getting my own thoughts out of my head and into a video. And there we go. Because trying to figure out this reality, I think that has its perks. I'm not saying that's not important, but I think I'm in the season of my life where I just need to start living it instead of questioning it. So that's it for today's video. I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.